Modern Warfare 2 2022 is considered to be one of the worst Call of Duties to date, even though the stats on its sales tell you otherwise. This was a surprise since it is the sequel to the reboot Modern Warfare, which is widely considered to be one of the best CODs in recent times. That game brought back so many players, and really, it did help revive the Call of Duty for a bit. MW2 had the internet in a chokehold with that ghost meme, and the MW2 subreddit has 5 million members. It crossed over $1 billion worldwide 10 days after its release. So, what happened? So, the first mistake was just changing the engine. MW2 changed a lot of things that felt so unnecessary and made the experience worse. One of the biggest changes was the movement. It seemed like they were trying to go back to what the classic Call of Duties felt like, with slide canceling being patched out, and sliding itself was pretty much useless since you couldn't shoot while doing so. It made the gameplay feel very slow and restricting, and it didn't feel like the older CODs, at least to me. I haven't really played many of the older games, but I have played quite a bit of COD 4 Remastered, and that played faster to me. The only mode this engine worked was in DMZ, and really, DMZ was made for tactical types of situations. Multiplayer and Warzone are fast-paced arcade shooters, and making them slower just didn't feel right. This change was really surprising since the first Modern Warfare of the reboot series was great. I mean, everyone was praising the movement, and it was the start of, everyone doing all these crazy movement stuff. So it was kind of surprising that they changed it. My only guess as to why they thought changing the movement was such a good idea was because of Vanguard. Vanguard's engine was sort of similar to MWII 2019's engine, except it was way faster, and as we all know, Vanguard isn't really the most popular game in the franchise. Funny thing is, that's not the reason why people didn't like Vanguard. Sure, the engine was way too fast, I mean you can move at the speed of light, but there were other reasons. Vanguard was using the World War II setting that people didn't really like anymore, and the 10 attachment system was just garbage. I can go on, it's just that the engine was not the problem with that game. Maybe they changed it because of nostalgia purposes, I don't know. Oh, I forgot one thing. They reduced the ADS speed of your gun when you jump. Yeah, this is really stupid, I don't get why. So there are attachments to making this jump ADS speed faster, which I don't understand. They basically just made a problem, and then the solution is to have gun attachments. There's no point in that, you're just overcomplicating things. And these changes are really made people dislike this game, but there are other changes. So let's just get into the perk system.
Oh hell no!
I don't know what was going on in Infinity Ward's office when they thought of this, but I pray that the office is being used for good now. So the perk system is divided into 3 categories: base, bonus, and ultimate. So you can equip 2 base perks and 1 of each for bonus and ultimate. The base perks would be active right when the match starts. Then bonus would be unlocked a few minutes after, and the ultimate would take even longer to obtain. You can reduce the time by getting kills, assists, capturing objectives. Everything that can give you score will give you progress to your perks. Yeah, this is a bizarre change. Turning perks into field upgrades doesn't really make any sense to me. Why should I have to wait to use my perks? At first, I didn't really think that this was bad, but as time went on, I realized that this was a horrendous system. Equipping Overkill and Fast Hands has been a combo people have used for years, though now you have to wait a bit for that Fast Hands perk to activate. This means that for the first minutes of the match, you are forced to deal with the slow weapon switch speed until you unlock the perk. However, this is even worse for the ultimate perks. If the enemy gets a UAV very early on into the match, then your ghost perk is useless since it took a long time for it to unlock. It's even worse when you notice that you cannot check your unlock progress for the perks unless you die or recently unlocked one of them in the match. In hardcore, fine, I understand, but come on, in regular core game modes, I should be able to see the progress of this. This change alone, if they just made it so that you could see what your progress was mid-match, then this wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the fact that they didn't do it made the perk system even worse than it already was. And for some reason, they made it so that perks were in perk packages. So what perk packages were, they were sort of like loadouts. And you couldn't really change the perks mid-match. If you want to use the other perks that you want, then you have to have other perk packages that have those perks and then switch them off of your loadout, which is really dumb, and it didn't help that there were only 5 perk packages that you could have at once. And come on, no one is using the preset perk packages, so don't give me that. I just can't understand why the perk system was overhauled this much, and I believe Infinity Ward realized that this was bad because I remember later on into the life cycle, they reduced the amount of time it took to unlock the perks. However, it still takes a while to this day, and I hate it. But you wanna know what else I hate? Dead Silence is still just a field upgrade.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
I don't understand why Infinity Ward is so against Dead Silence being a perk. Since MW 2019, 2 of the 6 games have Dead Silence only as a field upgrade. And what do you know? They're both made by Infinity Ward. Even in 2019, people complain about this, and you see your fellow studios making this a perk in their games, so why are you so stubborn about this? This wouldn't be that big of a deal if the footsteps weren't louder than Twitter users. Why the hell are they so loud? These 2 problems alone make the game more campy than it already has been, and it's frustrating. Then again, if this was a perk in MW2, then it would 100% be an ultimate perk, meaning you would have to wait 10 years for it to be active. But hey, if you played MW2, then you're probably familiar with waiting for 10 years, because that's what it feels like when I'm trying to aim down sights with my gun. Yeah, for some reason, almost every attachment reduces your ADS speed, and by quite a bit too. Now, I am all for attachments having some sort of con. I mean, if they didn't, then every gun would be broken. However, look at these stats, okay? Almost every gun or attachment reduces your ADS speed, and it's ridiculous. And it's frustrating because this game is already slow with how, you know, the engine works. So, I don't understand why they reduce the ADS speed on almost every attachment. It gets annoying. I mean, bro, look at these. What in the falling, crawling, gliding, sliding, walking, proning, mounting, crouching, diving hell is this? These penalties are huge. This is like placing a child in a juvenile detention center because they accidentally misspelled a 6 as a funny word. Yeah, that's overkill. Look at these numbers. Oh, the reason why you can see these stats is because I took these from MW3. Yeah, for some reason MW2 doesn't even have the feature of specific stats. But yeah, every attachment reduces ADS speed by a lot. They tried making the gameplay even slower. If you think weapon tuning helped, then you can forget about it because that was even more complicated. Oh, you're basically adding an attachment onto an attachment. Oh my, this was a mess. But what many people thought was a mess was how there were no MW2 2009 maps. Now look, I am a huge defender of MW3. I love that game, I think it's one of the best in recent times, and Sledgehammer really hit out of the park with this game. And while I am happy that I got to experience those MW2 maps in that game, some people were really annoyed that these maps weren't in MW2. And I can sympathize with them. These maps were teased to have been in the game for a while. The biggest tease was, you know, them being in the Al Mazrah map, but not playable in multiplayer. Yeah, for some reason. This is the equivalent to your friend talking about what he's gonna do for his birthday party, telling you that he hopes you can come, then when he actually hands them out, he skips you and says that you can come to the next one. The hell? Again, I am very happy with these maps being in MW3, but teasing them all over the place is a clown move. But you wanna know what else is a clown move? The horrible support. Okay, that's not really a move, but it's a clown thing. So, in my opinion, this is probably the worst Call of Duty when it comes to support. Hang tight, this will be a long rant. So, the game launches with 15 maps, 10 6v6 and 5 ground war. There were originally 16, but that map got removed because of some copyright thing, I guess. I'll get into that in a bit. This is around the average number of maps we get for a Call of Duty launch. Then on November 16th of 2022, Season 1 launches and it looks alright. Warzone 2.0 comes out, DMZ, which is a huge edition, releases, 3 golf players as operators, 4 new guns. I mean, it seems decent, but when you look at multiplayer, it's kind of disappointing.
Holy Jesus. What is that?
Raid is a fine mode, I will say that, but that was in season. That was the reload of the update. Also, Raid is a co-op type of mode. It's not multiplayer, so some people probably didn't even touch that mode for the entire life cycle of this game. But let's get into the maps. And the only map we got for the launch of Season 1 was Shoot House. Yeah, what the hell is this? I know that many people were wishing for this map to come back, and let's be fair, it did save Modern Warfare. But this is not the same as back it was in 2019. It's not a new map, and really the only truly bad map for the launch of MW2, in my opinion at least, was Santa Senya Border Crossing. Though maybe I can look past this. At this point in time, Shoot House has only been in one Call of Duty. However, my biggest gripe is how this is the only map that launched with Season 1. I mean, that's kind of awful, isn't it? But then Season 1 Reloaded comes around and we get Shipment, a map that has been in 2 of the 3 previous games. Yes, I know, there are going to be some Shipment fans in the comments saying, oh, well, I love Shipment. Yeah, okay, that's not the problem. It's just that this is the only map that launched with the Season 1 Reloaded update, and it's the same map that we've gotten for the past few years. I mean, this map isn't bad. Okay, it's Shipment. Everyone's going to love this. It helped me with the camo grind. But it's a small map. It doesn't take much time to design compared to a map like Invasion, where it's bigger, you gotta get all the details right. No, it's friggin' Shipment. And also doesn't help that we only got 1 new gun for the Season 1 Reloaded update. Yeah, that's kind of bad. Oh, but it gets worse. So Season 1 lasts for 3 months, which is normal for a first season. However, remember that we barely got anything for multiplayer. We're stuck with barely any multiplayer content for months. Then Season 2 comes out, and it looks a bit better than Season 1. Ashika Island is available for both Warzone and DMZ. We got 5 new guns, 1 of which will be in the Reloaded update, 6 multiplayer modes, 4 maps, 2 6v6 and 2 Ground War, ranked, a new episode for Raid mid-season. It's an improvement, we can't deny that, but there's still a problem. So remember how I mentioned that 1 launch map was removed? Well, that map is back and it's being advertised as new content. You kidding me, right? This 6v6 map was removed because Activision didn't have permission to use it, and then I guess things were resolved because it's back. It's a whole thing that I'm not going to get into. What I will get into is how this is a 6v6 map, it was in the beta, and it's being advertised as new content for Season 2. This is pretty crappy, and even worse when you realize that this map doesn't play the best. And then the other 6v6 map we got is MWII's Dome. Okay, this seems like a fine addition. I agree with that. It's just that there's a little problem I have. This map was in Vanguard, the previous game. So for 6v6 maps, we got a map that was in the beta coming back, and a remaster that was in the last game. This is not new content, and Dome itself actually plays worse in MW2 because of the engine. And yeah, Vanguard wasn't exactly a popular game, I understand that. But this being one of the maps, one of the 2 6v6 maps that were added for Season 2, it kind of seems like garbage because this is just reusing content from the last game. I mean, let's just think about it even harder. All they had to do was just re-add Valderas Museum into the game and copy Dome, which is also part of the Al Mazrah map. This doesn't seem like much work, so why not just add 1 more map? So for the first months of the game's life cycle, you were getting very few new content. There's nothing wrong with having map remakes, okay? I am happy that MW3 had all the MW2 2009 launch maps. Most of those maps haven't been seen in decades. The content that MW2 uses are things that were used from within the last year. It's stupid. Here on out, the game is getting better season updates with more maps releasing. However, there is another problem. Horrible communication and lack of bug fixes. This game had a bug with the UAV where every time it detected an enemy in its sweep, then it would track them in real time for a bit. Now, I don't know about you, but if the UAV functioned like this normally, then it would have to cost way more than it does here. It for some reason only affected some maps, which I don't even understand. This bug is still a thing. I think it first appeared in around Season 4, maybe 5? No, maybe 3, I don't know. But this game had 6 seasons worth of updates. So the next 2 seasons, they just didn't fix this. This is just ridiculous and one of the many bugs that were ignored. In fact, when I was getting gameplay for this video, this bug where your first kill streak would disappear at random is still here. And the horrible communication is just such a mind bender and not in a good way. So people were complaining about how the right shield covered your back if you weren't actively using it. This meant that you were blocking shots from behind you, both from enemies and your teammates. Oh, also how you can run very fast. So if you were using a knife and the right shield was on your back, you were able to run like at the speed of light. So the right shield got a nerf, which is very surprising since Infinity Ward doesn't really listen, but they nerfed it. But how? Oh, that's the biggest mystery. Okay, shut up, Jay. So they increased the amount of hits to kill from 2 to 3. Yeah, as if that was the biggest problem with this weapon. I don't believe anyone was complaining about the right shield 2 hitting you. I don't understand what was going on in COD headquarters that day, but horrible communication on their part. Wanna know what else is horrible? Okay, these transitions suck. So, rebooting Warzone. This video has mainly been about me complaining about multiplayer. So let's talk about Warzone 2.0 just for a bit. I'm not gonna go into full detail. The game launched with Al Mazrah, and I like this map. Not my favorite, though it's definitely an upgrade from Caldera. It's just that the main reason why people don't look too fondly on this map is because of the engine. Like I said, the MW2 engine was so slow and stiff, especially compared to the Modern Warfare one. Also, this was a reboot, so people who played Warzone only pretty much had all of their guns, calling cards, levels, they were all gone. Having the paid multiplayer of Modern Warfare, Cold War, and Vanguard was the only way you could keep all of these. Those who bought the bundles but never bought the multiplayer meant that their stuff just got flushed down the toilet, and also maybe their money and COD points. Another mistake that they made with Warzone 2 was not keeping Resurgence mode for the launch. This mode was the big feature keeping Warzone alive back in the Vanguard era, and removing it threw people off. It wasn't until Season 2 where Resurgence was brought back, so you can imagine that some people weren't happy with waiting for 3 months for this mode to come back. It also didn't help that Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep wouldn't return, the two maps that were arguably the best in the game. Doing that with Verdansk already pissed people off, so I don't know what they were thinking with this idea. It's clear that rebooting Warzone was just a horrible thing to do, and contributed to MW2's downfall. If people didn't like the mechanics of Warzone 2, then why would they spend money on the paid game? And that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really think that DMZ carried this season or year of Call of Duty, and the campaign wasn't really problematic, so it was mainly multiplayer and Warzone that contributed to the downfall of this game. Let me know if you guys want to see a follow-up where I talk more positively about this game, because I do feel a bit bad talking so negatively about it, because there probably were some people who genuinely had, some passion behind this. It's just that it was overshadowed by the horrible decisions made in this game. Alright, I'll see y'all.